Global inflation is at its highest in decades, with a sharp rise in prices. In Cameroon, the inflation is starting to worry actors in the public and private sectors. While the economic downturn caused by COVID-19 lingers, the impact has been amplified by the rising cost of food amidst the Russia-Ukraine conflict, a major source of cereals for Cameroon. In 2020, Cameroon imported 860,000 tons of wheat, spending 150 billion francs CFA. Close to 35% of the total volume was imported from Russia, which is so far Cameroon's leading wheat supplier. Many households in the southwest region have been left fighting for survival as it comes when food security was already under stress. The current situation appears to have turned into a complex wave, with the government struggling for an appropriate response with an increasingly restless population. One regional service that has been working tooth and nail to avail the situation by reducing the reliance on global food supply chains with intentional import substitution schemes is the Regional Center for Scientific Research and Innovation based in Boya.
Government took measures to see how they could preempt a crisis. And that's why the head of state instructed the ministers in charge of agriculture, of trade and scientific research to see how they could deploy measures to take care of this situation. It is in that light that the Minister of Scientific Research and Innovation asked all her 10 regional delegates to go down to the field and educate the public on the research results that are available.
As their mission germinates, the researchers take a voyage away from laboratories to nurseries and farms. The soil, the sea, is their connector of lives.
Thanks to our regional chief, he brought some 9 varieties, elite lines of wheat that we are now doing the germination test in our offices and in the labs. Now what we intend to do is move from there and plant in the field. We are going to analyze all of them and see which ones are best for our area and produce the seeds that we're going to give to farmers. So we want to see farmers, just like we now grow upline rice, we want to see farmers in the southwest region growing wheat and producing flour out of wheat.
This is the latest in their tray of import substitution options. Prior research-approved procedures for cassava had been hatched and distributed to farmers. In 2019, they produced bread with composite flour made of cassava and wheat. The training was handed, and Milton is one of those who adopted the technology to transform cassava.
The best product is high-quality cassava flour. So that is the technology that we've passed on to produce that, so we can replace wheat by up to about 30-40% in Kumba bread, about 10-15% in the French bread, and for other bakery products like cake, you can use all of it, cassava and sweet potato.
Casvita is an agribusiness that converts cassava into flour, fufu flour and baking flour. And baking flour can be used as a 40% to 60% wheat substitution. And this is going to reduce the rate of importation of wheat flour and help us to valorize our locally made flours in the country.
Back to the farms. The Southwest Regional Delegation of Scientific Research and Innovation has, through its specialized institution, IRAD, developed 3 cassava varieties that thrive in the region, which is Agroecological Zone 4.
For cassava, in the Agroecological Zone 4, where the Southwest region is part of it, we have the 8034 variety, 8016 and 8017 varieties that were developed by Iran as the major varieties advised to be planted.
The yields are bountiful, and same for corn. They were interested in improving food and nutrition security through improved food varieties, with research and on-farm experiments to get adaptable varieties in the southwest region. Maize is one of the main crops being consumed as food and feed. Agronomists in the region believe it is a good tool to fight food insecurity.
In each household, they consume maize at least once in a week in different forms. You can have maize flour, you use it as pap, you boil it. So it's an easy table food that can help in the fight against food security. And the advantage with maize, for instance, is that it's a short-term crop. You can cultivate maize. Most people cultivate it twice a year, but in favorable conditions, you can do it even 3 times a year, which means you will have food available within all that time. That will help to fight the problem of food insecurity.
The region's scientific community works in close collaboration with the Regional Delegation of Scientific Research and Innovation. Students from the University of Boya and other higher institutions carry out research with partial or total supervision from this center. This is a protein substitute for feed source undergoing decay. It is intended to reduce the imported protein sources used to formulate fish feed, which already is scarce globally.
We are trying to harvest them to thin the population that is destroying agricultural product and to valorize them in the production of rich protein sources, because it actually has up to 72% protein, crude protein, which will be very, very beneficial in the production or development of fish larval feed, which are very expensive. And as a result, we have been depending on for imports to take care of that.
Who talks of consumable protein talks of fish. With these juveniles or post-fingerlings, fish production and multiplication has never been made this easy.
It is here that the fish is incubated, the eggs are incubated, and we rear them here. We rear the larvae that result from the eggs until when they get to fingerlings, then we send them to nursery tanks. You can have 5,000 per system. That is to say, as this hatchery is at the moment, we can produce at least 30,000 fingerlings in a batch, and that will last for just 6 weeks.
Fishing in large water bodies is a normal for locals along the Atlantic coastline, but high heavy metal concentration in waterways like this keeps the research center worried. Bioaccumulation from industrial activities are in huge deposits here and can be transferred to humans upon consumption of fish. This 18 million franc CFA direct mercury analyzer machine steps in to solve the puzzle. It takes 3 hours to analyze a maximum of 40 samples.
It analyzes mercury in solid, liquid, and gases. It's called direct mercury analyzer because you don't need any pre-preparation before you analyze your sample. You have your sample boats. If you want to analyze mercury in fish, for example, you just get a little portion of the fish you want to analyze, maybe the flesh or whatsoever part. And then you just keep here, and this is the sampling tray.
Canopy of trees navigating breeze here. Just down the hill, life seems calm until researchers show you marks of depletion on rocks like this. The sea billows have been blowing and chopping off rock pieces. Nonetheless, The southwest region rises from this Atlantic Ocean to an active volcano, making it a marvel, although with fears of eruption. The last eruption was over 2 decades ago.
The Mount Cameroon area, it's largely driven by the fertility of the soil, which comes from the volcanic nature of the soil and the volcanicity that's driven by the Mount Cameroon volcano. So when we have these eruptions, the eruptions introduce material into the soil that is very fertile for agriculture.
In all, the Research Center of the Regional Delegation of Scientific Research and Innovation condensed their roles into stimuli and passed them on to the population through seminars like this one here.
So far, I've come to learn that you don't just plant on any kind of soil based from the introduction that was given by the head of the scientific research here in the regional level. And I also realized that to make cake, we can go economical using the normal flour, mix it with potato flour or cassava flour.
Without the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation, we can't talk about food security in the region and in Cameroon, because we develop the technology that the user ministries like the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock are using to make sure that the population of Cameroon has sufficient food.
The regional delegation has developed several technologies to substitute wheat flour with other alternatives as prices of flour rises. This as they continue to accompany their umbrella ministerial department, Scientific Research and Innovation, to provide research solutions to the region and the nation at large.